Hey everyone, welcome back to Master Your Life Beyond the Founder. I am your podcast host, Luke Beestall, and I have a fellow podcast expert in the studio with us today, Sonja. She's actually, we were talking, have you ever had anybody, join the studio from this country? No, we haven't. This is the first time she's actually joining us from Holland, near Amsterdam. And I am so grateful to be sharing this space with her over the next hour. Guys, you're going to want to listen to this one because obviously you're here and the feedback that we've received is the employment shift into self-employment. Sonja's been in the corporate world for over 10 years and has now transitioned into a very, very successful entrepreneur. It hasn't always been that way. There's been a lot of shifts, a lot of transitions, and we're going to delve deep into that story. She's been a business coach, still does business coaching. She's a leadership consultant. She's a podcast host. She helps podcasts reach more visibility. And she's very, very passionate about people listening to their calling and leaning into that purpose-driven life. So I've already seen what she does. I'm so interested in delving deep into story. I'm going to leave it there. Sonja, I want to welcome you into our studio today.
Thank you so much for having me. We had a great conversation before we hit the record button. So I'm excited to serve your audience.
Yeah, and I am as well. I think just the chat we had before, there was obviously a lot of alignment there, and we've got a lot of similar things mindset-wise with what we give back to people. Just to sort of start this off, what's the most important message that you would like to give back to our audience today?
I think it's so important that if there's anything you're going to take away today, is that you start trusting your intuition. If you have a calling, something that seems crazy to you right now, it's right what Tony Robbins said. You will overestimate what you can do in a year, but you're definitely underestimating what you can do in a couple of years. So definitely, let's dive into that purpose, that calling, that energy, that vibe that actually create not only the success, but also fulfillment. We want freedom, we want fulfillment, we want it all. So that's what I'm going to deliver as much as I can and contribute my part of it today. Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's such a powerful message. And I know probably people already are going to be like, I think I've got a call in. I think there's something inside of me that I want to go for it, but probably there's something stopping them, right? Maybe it's fear, maybe it's just comparison, judgment. Have you had an experience where those feelings have come up for you? And if so, what did you do to take action, move forward?
Yeah, actually, constantly. I mean, if you are in self-development and if it doesn't even matter at what stage you are, and I'm also a podcast host, so I speak to people who make 9+ figures and had the greatest achievements, but it's not always aligned with fulfillment, right? So there is still on every level, there is fear. On every level, you have everything that you think that you are struggling with right now, but all the levels are struggling with it. It's just the approach. So what it comes to me is the perspective. Is your why bigger than you actually? Did you make it bigger than you? Does it mean more than your success? Do you truly think that you could be the one leading it? And if you don't think that you can be the one leading it, why are you getting the voices? Why are you getting the intuition? So is your perspective right? I've been working so much when it comes to self-development and also transformation to be able to make the steps. So I guess just starting exactly where you are with what you have right now and trusting that it's a perfect timing of your path. If you just continue, there is no way you're not going to see results.
Yeah, I think this is, obviously your experience and your wealth of knowledge is coming through here, the way that you word things. And I think a lot of people are already, knowing that it's not always been easy. Like I say, you've openly said, hey, I'm still feeling these feelings. They don't just go away, which is good because it shows realness. Could you share an example with us, Sonja, in your career or in your entrepreneurship journey of a moment that you can remember that this happened for you and what changed when you just sort of the perspective side and like took action?
I don't think it was a moment of fear. I think it was a moment of awakening, to say so.
Oh,
We had a couple. One of them, and I will tell this one because I do, I'm a podcast as well. So this was the moment that I understood something about myself. So I was a business coach. I started out with helping other people launch their own coaching businesses online, and I was very successful at it, made good money, and I had a business coach who would help me scale that. Right. So, and she was just like, you should write a book when it comes to marketing. You should record a couple of podcast episodes. And everything inside of me screamed, no, like really loudly, like, no, but I want to get on stage, but that's not the thing that I am on getting on stage with. It's not about marketing. I don't want to be the next biggest marketeer or marketing guru. That's not my purpose, right? So, and I will launch the podcast and I'm going to make it successful. And this is exactly how it worked. Because I truly believed that I would make this podcast successful, I started with a winning mindset, to say so. So I didn't know anything. I didn't have any knowledge when it comes to podcasting. I didn't even have a coach. The only thing that I had is like true conviction, my knowing that it would work. And I just started producing, and getting people on board, right? And getting breadcrumbing it, having my own excitement, my own energy into it. And unconsciously, I launched a top ranked podcast. And then I started getting the agency with delivering the best guests ever. And I got to grow so much during my own podcast, which I launched 5 years ago, not ever knowing that that would be my way of success. So that don't ever underestimate that your purpose can come through a path that you are not seeing yet. So what we're trying to do is, out of fear, we want to control things, right? So it's our brain that wants to control the specific ways. How is this going to come about for me? And if it doesn't come about the way that we think it comes about, then people stop, they freeze, or they postpone, instead of saying, okay, what if this is a very important part of the journey? What if this is the success, right? And start building on that as an ecosystem, as something that works all together in order for you to be successful, but also doing what you love.
Yeah, so again, this is brilliant. The fact that you said that obviously you've been in business coaching, you've had a business coach yourself, and that you didn't see yourself going into podcasting. It just sort of came around. Maybe those voices of, you should write a book, you should record more of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious now, because obviously you've had fantastic success with it. What made you? Because obviously I can see you've got that drive. What made you start a podcast? What was the reason behind that?
So the why, actually. So in first, let me say it like this. I was just starting out online. I was a business coach. I was successful and I wanted some more authority. So I thought, okay, podcasting or a book or a stage would give some more authority. But the main driver for me was like, I get to create something that I truly love. That is my own creation from beginning to start, because my podcast, maybe you can see it a little bit on, here.
We can
It's
see it,
called The
unlock it.
Vault. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called The Vault. And every, marketing coach told me, don't call it The Vault, because, it's not a marketing term and people are not going to Google The Vault, and it is not marketable. And I was just like, no, I'm going to call it The Vault because this is my creation. I'm doing it my way, and I'm having this bigger why. I wanted to help people not only unlock success, so knowing how to sales and market and do all the business stuff, I wanted them to find fulfillment as well. So, and I understand this part of the journey is the most important part of the journey, because you don't want to be a burnout entrepreneur, or you don't want to be an entrepreneur and then going after freedom and then not feeling freedom or feeling fulfillment. So for me, it was very important to have a bigger why. So my bigger why is, with every leader we touch through this podcast, through the Vault, and every person that we unlock, every leader that we unlock, is creating a ripple effect in the quality of people's lives. So let's say that I interview you, Luke, and you help people with fitness, and you're getting people in the best health of their lives. That is so valuable. So when I do that, I actually, through your voice, we are creating a ripple effect in the quality of people's lives, because your family is influenced, their friends are influenced, all the listeners are influenced, and it creates a ripple. And that's what I you know jump out of bed for. So having a bigger why in your business that's bigger than you is going to help you overcome the imposter syndrome, the comparison, all the things, because it's just bigger than you. It's beyond you as a person. It's beyond you as a human. It's just like, it's a creation of next level, right? And you can get up for the creation, and maybe some days you don't want to get up for yourself because you're having your human moments. And you feel like, I don't want to get online, maybe I will be rejected, or I don't want to be visible because maybe, if they don't buy, it's not valuable enough. There are so many things that come up for people and entrepreneurs. And by having a bigger why, it makes you consistent. And by being consistent, you will see creation, you will see results, you will see what's coming back, the reciprocity of what you're putting out there.
I think there's a lot to be said about you, just something I've taken away, and I'm sure the guys listening may have caught this as well, that when you initially launched the podcast, everybody was against you in a way. There was opinions of, don't do it, it's not going to work, that name's not going to be searchable. But actually, you've gone against the grain, and you've done it because you believe in it. I think there's that belief element, right, which I think is important for the guys to take away. And it's ended up being a top ranked podcast very, very quickly. And then you've been able to get these guests on that have got a ridiculous amounts of credibility and have been able to elevate your platform. So I think that's a massive credit to you for the courage to go against what other people say. So, as we know, in the world of life, business, whatever, in our past, we won't do things because of somebody else's opinion, and we'll stop in our tracks.
Yeah. Isn't that a shame?
Yeah.
Shame, right? I mean, the entrepreneurs are the biggest creators on the planet, right? You got a voice, you got this inspiration, you got these intuitions, and then where are they coming from, That means they already have some kind of energy inside of them. And sometimes when you have the courage, if you really feel something strongly and it's coming back to you all of the time, go and do something about it, because you're the one. There are other people who get similar inspirations and they do something about it. Maybe you don't, and they walk away with the results and you don't, right? That's a shame. So going against the grain, if it really feels good, it's just a little courage that you need to get started. And once you get started, you just flow on that energy, and you just don't focus so much on the result that you get blinded by you get blinded, and you don't see what you are creating, right? Because if you are a leader, you go first, and that means that you are going to deal with uncertainties. That's a part of the game, right?
Yeah. But you're learning, obviously. I mean, just for people to check in on your experience, how long have you now been in the entrepreneur world, Sonja?
This will be my 7th year. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so would you have said to your younger self that you'd have been an entrepreneur, or was it always inside of you, or did you develop it as you went through life?
Oh, it wasn't always inside of me. I think the secretly the wish, but I wasn't raised in that kind of environment. I was just like, just get a job, get a good job and stuff. And I did really get a good job. And I was traveling every 6 weeks. I had a perfect job, to say so, but I wasn't fulfilled. I had a perfect job. I had a very big difficulties having children at that time, right? So that was a very, very difficult period for me. I thought, oh, when I get the child, when I have the house, when I have this, when I have that. And then I had this moment that had all of it. So I went through this excruciating, very hard journey to getting children. And then I had a little girl, and she was like 3 years old, I think. I bought a house that I had in my vision. So everything, like everything that I had in my vision, I looked outside, I saw the car that I wanted. I was traveling every 6 weeks. I had everything. And then I felt this moment of emptiness. And then I thought, oh my gosh, what is wrong with you? Why are you not grateful? You're such a grateful person. You have everything you want, right? Here is your child, your house, your car, your everything. And then you dawned on that calling that you didn't listen to. So yeah, I wasn't directly planning to become an entrepreneur, but I guess I couldn't dodge the calling anymore. So I need to give it a go, or else I would live in regret. And I think that's the worst thing. That's even worse than any challenges you can have in entrepreneurship. Yeah.
So I think that's really good that you've said there that, no regrets. You had a calling, you felt something, even though people probably would see your life from the outside as, what are you complaining about? You've got the bloated salary, you've got a daughter, you've got all the things that you want, but you still felt that there was something inside of you to change. Which, do you know what? Most people would just stay settled and just be like, yeah, they're actually probably right. I have got everything. And that would then be a bit of a numbing effect of just staying in the same place. But then, like you say, you still felt empty and you'd carry on. Just being in that world of, the corporate world, and obviously, having your daughter, which I think is amazing. When did things start to shift for you? What was that sort of awakening moment?
I do think when I launched the podcast, right? And I got to see how because before that I really like hustled, to get all the things when it comes to marketing and getting clients with marketing and high ticket coaching and all of that stuff, right? So I work hard at it. I into webinars, and then I taught people a lot of stuff, and then they would sign up, and I was having like great, months and results. And that moment that I saw how easy it was to be successful, how flowy it could be with podcasting, I started to adjust my view. Like, wait a minute, there is a different way that has, requires an energy of me that is more natural, instead of like, hustling myself and high performing myself throughout this game. And that was the pivotal moment for me, that I thought, wait a minute, there is a way to build this business exactly the way you want it, but you will have to be willing to take the leadership and to go first, and to trust your energy and to trust yourself by going first and taking people with. And that is something that is difficult for people, because we are searching community. And sometimes when you have this calling, you are kind of alone in it, right? It is kind of lonely, and it is sometimes you're going to compare to other people, but you cannot compare because they're not the same. They don't have the same calling, they don't have the same voice, they don't have the same talents, they don't have your energy. So just like trusting that you are the one and developing yourself into that is so valuable, not only for your business and your success, but just for your life quality.
Yeah, I think obviously I love that moment again about the podcasting, because, obviously that was a leap that you'd taken that wasn't a financial gain straight off the bat, right? Podcasting is one of those things that isn't just because obviously, in the world we live in, we want an instant return, right? It's like, well, what's in it for me? If I decide to take that move, I want to know that there's £20,000 or whatever waiting at the end for me. But you had taken a route that was a calling, just like, that's what I want to do. Like say the connection piece or the community piece that you was looking for, but actually it was something that you felt inside of you was the decision where you wanted to go. And it's turned out to be a business for you now. Obviously it's changed the way that you sort of probably operate, how you perform, your energy, like you said as well, which is massive. What have you learned most about this podcasting journey?
Where can I start? That's such a good question.
Give us the
Oh
list.
my gosh. I had the pleasure to interview so many great leaders. So secretly, I was just like, I extracted so much knowledge. And in some, I'm a big stand for energy and how capable we are to manifest things. But sometimes they just came in at a timing that I needed to hear that, or that I needed to receive that lesson. So I got amazing lessons, wisdom, a network that is seriously worth money as well, right? And people introducing you to people that you normally would never be introduced to. So I had so many great takeaways. And then at some point, I went from expert towards, okay, I'm an expert as well in specific areas. So I'm going to share more of my knowledge with solo episodes, which was also a great, developing experience for me. So the whole podcasting wasn't launched to make money until I saw that clients started signing up by listening to the podcast. Right. And then I thought, okay, the podcast gave them the trust they needed. And I didn't even have to sell anything because they were already sold before they contact me. So, and then I thought, okay, so people are truly benefiting and I'm reaching that exact person that I need to reach, enable for me to help them. I also saw how big of a business tool podcasting actually is. It's a great tool for content. It's a great tool for um, creating the trust that people and buyers need in order for them to move forward with you. But personally, I gained a lot, even if I would never get any clients from the podcasting. I gained so much through network and wisdom and the experience of podcasting. Which is actually priceless. So, yeah.
I'm just like nodding my head here because obviously I've been doing this a little while now and I can relate to that for sure. But I think what I'm sort of gaining from this, and again, just sort of people listening in, is just how important your environment is and your network of these conversations. Obviously, you've been having some amazing conversations with high net worth individuals through just you putting yourself out there, and it's just allowed you to learn so much from these people. If you could extract just one piece of wisdom from these people that you've had conversations with as a lesson or something that you've taken into your life as an entrepreneur, what would that be?
Don't quit taking action. Just start believing relentlessly and taking small, however small action towards what you believe in is going to create the success. I interviewed more than, I think, 140 people. And yeah, so the main lesson is just take the action despite of fear. Take the action despite of fear. The fear is not the truth, right? And trust your gut, trust your energy as well, right? A lot of people thought, oh my gosh, that seemed impossible for me. And then they wrote books on it and they're on podcasts because they made 9 figures with their business and their book. So taking the action, I think when it comes to what the most important lesson is, I do think because we're talking about the thing that is stopping people the most, and that's fear. And the only thing the only thing you can actually do against fear is showing courage, showing that you do have trust, showing that you are willing to make that one step and willing to make that one move and just move forward every time, a small move. And I love the story about, the bamboo growing underneath the ground. You don't see what you are creating right now. I didn't see that I would launch a top ranked podcast. I didn't see. I interviewed Joseph McGlendon, which was my biggest pride in the beginning, because I was just like, oh my gosh, I was just in the arena with you, and now I'm interviewing you. You influence millions and millions of people, and you're one of my first guests. So sky isn't even the limit. That was the mindset. And then if you would have that one piece of evidence If you would just have that one piece of evidence, you would go like crazy. Your energy in how you take action would be perfect. But if you don't have that, at least take the steps, because you don't know what's growing underneath the ground, but there's growing something. You're creating something.
Yeah, this is so good. Congratulations, by the way, on being able to sort of bring that into your world so early on, because I think, as people and the way we are, if you talk about fear, we play quite a small game, or at least we'll take the safe route first and maybe not go for it. You've just taken a risk that had no intention of a financial gain, but it's completely transformed who you are and your business. And
Yeah.
I know we keep talking.
Yeah, well, I think one thing is just really coming in strongly for me right now. People are, it's just like, what is the answer that you're waiting for? I have interviewed so many people and asked the question, yeah, what is it? What made you successful? What is it? Yes, taking action is it. But what is the answer that you, as a listener, what do you need to hear in order for you to go out and be the one that makes the moves?
I think that's a great question. I definitely suggest the guys listening just go back 30 seconds and just let that sit again. Maybe put it on repeat 5 or 6 times just to let it digest, because I think, like what answer are we waiting for?
There's power in that question. Why? Because you can listen to 1,000 of podcast episodes. You can read hundreds of books. But in the end, it's just like, know who you are. Know how powerful you are. And whatever you have and whatever you think that's stopping you is just a human experience. And if you then understand that you are the one also watching your human experience, you're the one that can influence your human experience. So we don't need to see this fear as something like, this face eating monkey that's going to jump you or something when you try something. It's just like, go and experience it first and don't judge the experience. Just experience it for the experience and how it will make you grow. Because when you grow, you will actually not have the same fear. You will come and come to slay the dragon to find out there is no dragon to slay. So I think that's the power of that question, is what would you need? And I hope the answer is that you see that you already have everything inside of you. It's just like, make the move.
Yeah, I just think that was so good, and something that come to my mind as well, Sonja, just about like it's inside of you, is a question that I can remember, and this is just me putting a 2p in here. Like, what action would you take if you had no fear? And that was a question. It was in the coaching space that, what? Because obviously we talk about fear being the stopping button, the sort of pause button. But yeah, what action would you take if you had no fear? I just think that's another, talking about landing another powerful question in there. Is just,
and what action would you take despite of fear?
Yeah, it's crazy. Is it? I mean, for you now though, in what you do, have you got any fear? Is there anything that scares you? That
yes.
what scares you?
The thing that you fear the most is your highest calling, to say. So I can remember it was just when I started as an entrepreneur, and I manifested. It was crazy. Like, I started as an entrepreneur, I manifested this ticket to the US and attending the Unleash the Power Within event of Tony Robbins, which was on my bucket list, but I was just like, it's too much money. I'm not going to do it at the start of the of my entrepreneurship. I thought, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. I'm not going to do that. And then I won this ticket. I won this scholarship, and I never win anything. So I had a luck with different things, but I never, ever won anything. Nothing came easy to me. I always needed to work to get results. And that just flew to me. So I manifested that. I manifested a business ticket. Someone just gifted me a business ticket to the US that doesn't even know me. I got offered where to sleep. Everything was just kind of opening up. And then I ended up there, and we did this like exercise. It was, I think, the Dickens exercise, where you throw out your biggest limiting beliefs. And people around me, it was dark in the room. People around me were screaming, and I thought, oh my gosh, what did you live? What kind of life experience did you have to be able to scream like that? I mean, that was going through my bones. And then I remember I felt like he was looking at me directly, and there were 13,000 people in that arena. And I just got this epiphany. I need to do something with the power of belief. I need to do something with the power of belief. And one day I will be at Tony's stage. I don't know how, I don't know when. I have no idea. But one day I will be there. I still haven't been on his stage, but I do have his email address. So we're making progress. And I think that moment was like this big epiphany moment for me. That's what I need to do. And since then, that has been the red thread through everything. If I truly believe in something, it's happening. That's it.
I think that's so good. The fact they got a scholarship to go out to. I've been to UPW myself in the UK, so I did do the 4-day thing. I didn't get a free ticket though, unfortunately. but,
no.
but no, I totally know what you mean. Where people are screaming, shouting, letting all the stress and the all the things in their life. But that's such an amazing share on sort of the fear element, and you did it anyway, and it was as though it was an awakening moment, a part of a shift. And for you as well, traveling to a different country, obviously you still got this ambition of being on stage. Obviously you're open about it. You're not there just yet, but things are moving in the right direction. For you where you are right now, and please share this, what's some of the mistakes that you've made in your business that have become maybe quite costly, or have knocked you back in some ways, or held you back from that full potential?
Yeah, I made many mistakes. For example, not trusting exactly what I wanted to do, and then being 1 foot in and 1 foot out, right? Not in my full energy, or having so many businesses on, simultaneously. So not being really focused on one core thing. That was definitely a mistake. I think also overthinking, oh my god, and I should do this, and if I do that, oh my gosh, that's such a time waste. I can tell from experience, because overthinking is just like, it's fear in disguise, right? Insecurity in disguise. And we need to be careful about all the insecurities in disguise. That could be fear of missing out. It could be perfectionism. It could be overthinking. It could be comparing to other creators, right? So we need to be careful about that, because if you would just start with the winning, like, I'm going in this, not going to look at the results directly. I'm just going to create more of what I'm passionate about. I'm going to create more of what I love to do. I'm going to create more value, right, for other people. And just stick with it, right? Don't give up the first time that your launch didn't go well. Don't give up the second time your launch didn't well. I know that, for example, in my business coaching time, when I did webinars and stuff, I would launch, and then I would have a couple of people, and then I would be like disappointed. Oh my gosh, I just got a couple of people. And then I even had that time that I gave a webinar, and I was fully prepared, and nobody showed up. So that happened as well. But in the end, it doesn't matter, because in my case, I converted those small groups so well that I still got to have great months, right? So don't pin yourself on the first results and then go pivot as soon as you think, oh my gosh, I tried this and they said it would work. And, because entrepreneurs are very good at marketing as well. So you need to be sharp. Right? So they say, okay, and if it doesn't work the first time and you truly believe in it, go the second, third, fourth, until it works.
I think that's about being quite adaptable as well, as an entrepreneur, obviously slightly pivoting. But I think what you've shared there is something that think is really good to sort of bounce back is the fact that, you know, you've obviously tried a lot of things. You know, you've tried this, done that. You know, you've sort of opened up those 29, 30 tabs, you know, sort of on a computer to see what works. I think that's important. But there's lessons to be learned from that. So I think as well, just the listeners sort of coming in at this stage or are at this stage, don't fear trying, I guess, and learn and try again. And like you say, don't quit. That's a very strong thing that you've learned from all these, you know, conversations that you've had. But there's something as well that I think would be really good to hear your perspective on, Sonja. You spoke about overthinking, and I think this is quite common in everything that we make today. The world is full of noise. The world is full of constant speed of information that we do sort of catch ourselves going, where do I go from here? What caused you to overthink as an entrepreneur?
I think, I have so many interests. I'm just like, I'm not this one. I would love to say I'm this one person who does this one thing, but then again, we're all so multidimensional, and I have so many interests, and I didn't want to miss out on myself, right, to say so, and what I wanted to deliver. So I was in business coaching, and then I was thinking, oh my gosh, but I love talking about transformation, energy, mindset, because it's so incredibly important. But will it dilute the message, right? So that is for me. It was like, that caused it, because I have so many interests, until you realize that you are creating a brand and all of that is supposed to be there, right? You just need to stand for it. That's the only thing. You need to lead it, right? Just like I led the vault, which had no success chance, right? Everybody said, no, it's not going to work, but it did, you know, it worked right away and it was super easy. So I beg to differ. So just like, let it all be part of it and just stand by it, because if you can stand by it and if you can believe in it, you can make it work. That's why they say make it work. It's not like it's working already. Make it work.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did that, and obviously let it be. You know, you put yourself in a place of calling where you had basically an itch, and you scratched it, and you went after it. And over the other side was that, oh my gosh, this, against all the odds, this is working out. And I think,
but
again,
everybody has it, am I good enough question. That's like, everybody has that. Everybody has that. Am I good enough? Is it good enough? You know, that's the one question that always arises. For example, I will give an example. I wrote a chapter in a book, and it's about a personal story that also went into emergence. And that was part of the success story, but I didn't see that at the time that I was going through that very difficult adversity in my life. But I had this huge limiting belief, like, I can speak, put me in front of a camera or a mic, I can speak, you know, but don't let me write. I'm not a writer. I'm not an author. I cannot write. I cannot express myself. I don't know where I picked that up, right? But it took me it took me a really overthinking time and a little bit of pushing, and to get myself to do that chapter. It took me so much time. I was just like, why am I overthinking this chapter so much? Why is it so important for me? And then, what I realized, it wasn't about me saying, okay, now I'm a 3 times international bestseller, which also happened. It wasn't about that at all, because the process of writing the chapter and me overcoming that and actually holding the book in my hand, and what I needed to go through myself in order for me to write the chapter, that was the transformation. That was the success. It wasn't about me becoming a best-selling author. It was about me writing the chapter. So, and I think there is like this huge lesson that we can all draw from it. It is about that the thing that you find the most difficult, what you fear the most, if you actually allow yourself to experiment and to say, either I win or I learn. There is no third option. There is no failing. There's either winning or learning. That's it. If you go in with that kind of energy and mindset, you will be amazed that what you get during the process, or what the journey will bring to you, and who you will become because of it, and how different you're going to approach the challenges you have right now.
I think what you said about who you become as a result of the process has been more fulfilling and important to you than actually the status piece itself of obviously being titled as the 3-time bestseller author, which I think is also not really as scary to well, I hope it's not as scary to people listening, that it's people all want these sort of title grasping things such as I want to be the best at this, I want to be better. That's where that probably am I good enough comes from, or am I worthy enough to achieve this? But actually what you sat with is that, do you know what, I'm going to take action anyway. I'm going to make it work. I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to keep trying. And actually, on the other side of that process, you found, oh my gosh, I can actually do this. But without those attempts, without trying, you would never have known that about yourself, right?
You wouldn't. And it's also interesting to watch yourself going through, is you're going to transform like crazy. Like if you allow yourself, and it doesn't need to be hard as long as you understand it's part of the journey, because success is, in marketing there is a way to bring success like it's a magic pill, like, yeah, that one made millions, but what did that person have to do before making that millions? Wait, what I don't want people to have is like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to make that, it's too much hard work. This is not what it is about. It is about, can you watch yourself and be freaking proud of what you created, and then get paid for it as a result after, without you putting a time frame on yourself and putting yourself under such immense pressure, which is not for human beings, right? That's great for AI, but for human beings is like enough pressure to get you growing, enough pressure to get you to the next step, enough pressure to not say, no, I will do it tomorrow. Because today is the only option you have. Tomorrow is not an option. That's, I think, the one of the most important lessons that I've learned when it comes to procrastinating. If I don't do it today, tomorrow is just not an option, because tomorrow I have the same excuse that I had today. And that tomorrow after that, I will have the same excuse. So it's about saying, okay, is this the story that I want to live? Is this my entrepreneur story? Is this my entrepreneur movie? Like, if I'm showing up as the main character of my movie, is this the way that I want it to go? And let's say in the movie you had this huge failure and you didn't make it work and you're crying and you have that whole experience. If you watch yourself, what would you say to the main character? Would you say, okay, I don't know, I don't think it's going to work for you? Or would you say, like, come on, you can do it, you know? It's part of the deal. You're supposed to cry a little bit. You're supposed to have a little bit of hardship. You're supposed to fail so that you can learn from it. You're supposed to have these, let's say, negative experiences so that you can grow into the person that can hold all of that pressure and all of the abundance that you want, right?
I think the pressure is the privilege in a way. I think obviously you do need a bit of urgency. You can't just live in this life of time is forever, right? Because obviously, like you say, we've only got one movie. It's life's not a dress rehearsal. I hear that sort of flown around a lot. I think just look, your wisdom is so great, Sonja. I think obviously you are a motivational person. You're inspirational with the work that you do. For you, obviously, with your sort of work that you do, what's a moment in that you're most proud of?
Um, when I actually see people living their vision, and I get to see it with my own eyes in either Facebook stories or just like the lived experience of what once was talked about, what once was dreamt about. Right. So let's say that I had a client when we spoke vision and they were completely insecure, and, and it's just like, it's a process. And then you see them actually living beyond that. And you see the energy that's so exciting to me. I really love that people can have what they want, but also that they become more of who they are, right? So I don't know. I think it's a pride thing of a fellow human being. So that's very fulfilling to me.
Yeah, you can tell. Obviously, you're very much about people as well. I mean,
Yeah.
for you to share that, it's come from, rather than it being about you, it's about more of like the team element. You obviously, you know, I think that's very, very clear. I'd love to sort of look at. I want you to sort of look at yourself now and just share with our audience, to give yourself a bit of credit, I guess, or give yourself some love. What would you say you're most great at, as a person, as a coach, as a mentor, leader, podcast host, mother as well?
Mm. Oh, mother, and that's something different.
Yeah.
No, I do think that I'm a great mother, and I think it seeps true. I think that I'm good at changing perspectives and making people see things differently. Right? So open, because I see their potential. I see my kids' potential. I see other people's potential. So then, and I also feel that I have a very strong energy, right? To pick that up and to make sure that you are seeing it from a different perspective as well, because that's what you need. You can have like, you can have like, I don't know, if you're a baseball or something, you can throw 100 balls and then see if you can nail one, or you can really focus on, okay, if I just like, if I learn from this, and if I throw it with the right momentum and the right energy, it's going to be the success shot, right? So focusing more on that and focusing more on being intentional is something that I'm really good at. And I do think I'm a great podcast host, even if I say so myself.
Big it up, big it up. No, I think
Yeah.
that's great that you know, you've been able to acknowledge that about yourself, that you know, that's something that you're great at. When
Yeah.
did you when did you know about that? When did you sort of become in tune with that
Mm.
you can actually help people with this?
I don't know. I think you try. So, as I say, I'm multidimensional. So I tried many things, and then some things I could do them, but I needed to put more effort into it, and they were not so natural. I had to prepare and to learn and do a lot of stuff, and other things are completely natural to me. So they're like an extension of me. And then I just needed to make like little iterations. I think that's the moment when I saw things that come really easy to me. Is That's my genius. I do think there is something about my presence. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know it changes the experience of people and how they see things. So I've seen many great things only coming from that. It's just going out there and experiencing yourself in different situations is going to be a great life experience, but also is going to make you such a better entrepreneur, because you need to be able to be flexible and to cope with all the changes. And especially right now, I mean, I interview people on AI regularly. There is a lot of things changing for us, so becoming more like grounded and certain in who you are as a leader is becoming more and more important. Your energy is becoming like the most important thing for your business and your life as well. So I do think that that's just by experimenting, you will see what aligns for you, what comes easy, what is the thing that you, if you look at it like a box of chocolates, and you have like 10 kinds of chocolates and you have plenty of that, you're really good at it, it's easy, and you keep on giving them away for free, and then you have this one thing and everybody wants the one thing, but you have to do a lot of things for the one chocolate that you have. You don't want to give it. So, and what you're doing is your greatest value, because it comes so easy to you, you keep on giving it away for free. Well, that is your currency. That is the thing that um you can compound that, but you're not, maybe it's a blind spot in how good you are at it, because it's so easy for you. And that is probably the thing that is going to make you the most money as well.
I think that's actually very powerful, that bit. Just again, I would re-listen to that, because yeah, like you said, obviously sort of it falling into something more of a natural thing rather than a forced thing, or maybe somebody sort of saying this is the next best thing. and probably that's not your right energy. It probably will put you down somewhere more of a route of FOMO. So you're just going down there rather than it being aligned to you. So I think that's really great. And the fact that you have got this skill and ability to help other people do that, I think is awe-inspiring. I mean, how do you sort of build your perspective? How do you consistently, I guess, personally develop yourself in order to keep delivering your best self to the people
Mm.
that want to work with you?
I invest a lot. I invest a lot in energy, time, money. I make sure that I'm in the right rooms. That's most important, and that's not only podcasting. I make sure that I connect to people who have shared visions, or that I can lead shoulder to shoulder with, or that I can do. That I'm in communities, right? So I invest a lot in my mentors, in and I do investments that have nothing to do directly with business, but makes me grow in business even more, because I get developed as a business owner, right? So definitely putting a lot of time in reading, in developing more of the skill and what people are actually looking for. Talking to people is very important. And yeah, being surrounded with peers, or the environment is very important. It really is. It really is.
I think there's some key parts there that obviously show and display your skill set, that you are invested. If they're investing in you, you're obviously investing in yourself. At different stages of your life, you're around great people. They always sort of say your network is your net worth in some
Yeah,
form. So I think
yeah.
I think it's brilliant that you're in those worlds. And just obviously we've spoken a lot about, well, you've spoken a lot about, I guess, sort of how this is sort of transitioned for you in the transformational space. If
Mm,
someone was sort of in this episode now and they was like, Sonja, I'm really inspired. I love sort of the things that you're doing, but
mm,
I don't find my sort of network being inspirational. I
mm,
don't feel like I'm learning from those kind of people. Where
mm,
would be the first place or the first step to sort of
mm.
take so that they can maybe look at expanding their potential a little bit more?
Yeah, I do believe, and I've gone over this quote. I mean, some quotes are repeated so many times, right? So they say you're the average of the five people that you hang out with the most. I did found over the years that that has a lot of truth in it. Why? Because it's the energy that you're exposed to most of the times. It also exposes your weaknesses. For example, if you are someone who is really empathic and loves to help people, you tend to pitfall yourself into it, right? So then you're helping them too much, and then it has a ripple effect that they are going to ask a lot of you, and before you know, you are a people pleaser, you're overgiving, you're underpricing, it shows up in your business, right? All of the things shows up in your business as well. So the most important move that I made for myself in business and in life is putting up boundaries. So you can put boundaries on your time. You can put boundaries on the way that you want people to speak to you, to treat you, to interact with you, and you decide. I always say, if you look at yourself as a big ball of glass ball of energy, you wouldn't like to get contaminated all the time, right? So putting up the glass and saying, okay, this is my standard, this is the way that it's going to be, is going to attract the right people also to you, and some way magically repel those that don't fit in your energy. They're not helping, they're stagnating, right? Because it takes a whole lot of water to get some dirt out of the water. It takes a whole lot of water. So you allowing yourself to um, do things that are not congruent with your values and not putting up boundaries is really detrimental to you as a person, but also for your business, because it's going to show up in your business, it's going to show up in your team, it's going to show up in your interaction with clients, in your sales, in your marketing, and all of the things. So put up boundaries for yourself and standards for yourself that actually align with your values and what's important to you. And you can do this from the start, Luke. This is a very, very important nuance, because right from the start, right? So let's say that I'm a girl and I'm going 12 years old and I'm going to secondary school, right? So it all depends. How am I going to walk into the school? With which energy, right? So I'm claiming my energy, I'm claiming my power right away. So same things with podcasting, same things when you're going live, same things when you're posting. What kind of energy and what kind of energy are you bringing to the table, right? So how much space can you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take up the space because I have something valuable to give here. I'm going to take my seat at this table.
Do you know what? I ask a question and you drop about 4 different knowledge bombs. I absolutely love it. But you're absolutely right, though. You know, the sort of boundaries from the get go. I think that's something that we probably do. I know myself. I definitely didn't do that. I'll hold my hands up, and it does have a massive impact on the growth. You know, and just how you learn about the world. But I think I'm hearing a lot about the people. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You are the average product of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Absolutely. So that's I think, again, for the audience and the listeners to sort of take away from them, is that have a little look around you. I guess check in a little bit with who you're spending time with, the types of conversations you're having. What is the vibe? What is the energy like? How do you feel after that conversation? Because maybe that could be your answer. The answer that you've been actually looking for. Because at the minute you're probably just going through the motions. So yeah, absolutely. I think that's great.
So one more thing, we and this is also aligned to what you do, of course, with physical fitness. Our body is very intelligent, we just get signals all the time. So if your body is just like, no, listen, it's probably not good, right? If your emotions are, so this is like totally not aligned, I shouldn't do this. And it's not fear. It's just like, I shouldn't do this. Don't do it. If your intuition is saying do that and you're scared, do it anyway, right? Is those things that you challenge yourself, because if you challenge yourself, you stretch, you grow, and you can actually become more.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, I mean, Sonja, we are getting towards the end of this episode. I mean, I think we could probably do about 5 series of like how to become a leading entrepreneur. But no, seriously, so much value. I have got a question for you, and it's just one that I love to ask every guest. And guess what? It is your perspective, so I can't wait to hear this. What does mastering your life mean to you?
Yeah, I think it's very aligned with also the mission of my podcast is success through fulfillment. So doing something that is my zone of genius and being more of who I am, enjoying life in consciousness, business in consciousness, people in consciousness, right? And then creating more good for people. So if I can create more good for people and the people that I work with create more good, I'm good. So that's what mastering it is. It's just like, getting really aligned with who you truly are inside and creating more of that and helping other people do the same.
That's amazing. That's so good. And thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure, I already know, very confident that the listeners will take away so much from this. But if they are wanting to find you, reach out to you, or maybe follow your work, Sonja, where is the best place?
The best place for now is Facebook, because I started on Facebook and I kind of, that is where I was building, but they can find me on any platform. And yeah, and I'm soon also to launch a YouTube channel, so they might find me on YouTube.
Yeah. Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, The Vault on Spotify or Apple. So The Vault with Sonja Martinovic is a podcast where I also interview a lot of experts, and then also strategies, the how, the how. Because today we're speaking a lot about the why, because I truly believe that you don't start a how with a crappy why or who, you need to build that person, and then the strategy becomes easy. But when you are ready, the strategies out there are crazy, and also the deep dive sessions. Yeah.
Alarm. But no, totally. And we'll make sure as well those links for people to obviously explore more of the work that you do will be in the show notes, and I'm sure some will want to have a conversation with you. But look, final thing from me hosting this conversation, I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and Sonja, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much.